So, all week long, I've been talking about fear and doubt. And today, I want to get into that a little bit more. I owed you this video yesterday, and I do apologize for not getting it posted. Yesterday just got away from me, and that is one of the struggles that I'm still challenged with today is trying to run multiple businesses and involved in multiple things and not being able to devote enough time to some of the things that I'm trying to do. So primarily my time is mostly still devoted to tattooing and electrum. Most of you that have been around me for a long time know that that's been the majority of my life for the past, 15 years, especially with electrum, and, even going back further than that in the tattooing side of things. But publicly facing for the last 15 years in the tattoo space. I'm still running electrum day to day. That is my primary focus on a daily basis. We got a lot going on there and a lot of exciting things. We went through a lot of transitions at the end of last year. It was a very difficult year for me personally in business and for the brand. But I think it was a difficult year for the entire tattoo industry. So I'm not alone in that. It's just been a challenging year to navigate. The good news is that we have rebounded mostly, and we are back on track to get things, going in the right direction again. So I'm happy about that. But I wanted to talk about fear and doubt a little bit more, and I want to, bring all of you up to speed on where I'm at personally in my life. And I know you've seen a lot of mixed things. Some days I'm posting about tattooing, some days I'm posting about the books I write. A lot of days I'm posting about spending time in the gym. And then, of course, I'm time to time posting, just personal life stuff, pictures with my kids and Julia and other friends and things like that. So I realize to a lot of people from the outside looking in that, things in Rob's life seem very scattered. And you're not off base. There are a lot of scattered things in my life. I'm not only involved in Electrum, I'm also the president of TEMA, which is the Tattoo Industry Manufacturers Alliance, and its sister organization, Integrity. Those are two nonprofits that Sean Brown and I started back in September of last year. Those are really, really important focuses in my life as well, as the tattoo industry is faced with increased regulatory challenges and things of that sort. We felt it was very important for us to kind of lead the charge in uniting the tattoo industry, especially the manufacturing side of things, through this regulatory process and making sure that we're staying ahead of things. So a lot of time goes into that on a weekly basis. There are some times where we put, 20 hours a week into that, and some people in our organization are putting more time than that into that. So there's a lot going into that. So you've got Electrum, you've got TEMA and Integrity, you've got the gym, you've got family life, and then on top of that, I'm trying to build this Successrifice brand out. So let's talk about Successrifice. What is it? Where did it come from? Why am I doing this now, right? Everybody's probably asking that. I know some people have asked me that out loud, so I want to answer that question now. I'm going to take you back to 2019 because that's really the top of the mountain where this kind of all came to a head. But Successrifice, unbeknownst to me, has been brewing my entire life. It just took a long time to get there. I've lived a lot of different chapters in life. I came from a really fucked up childhood. It's not a unique story. A lot of people come from fucked up childhoods. I'm not ever going to sit here and say that my story is unique in that regard. I know that a lot of you have dealt with similar things in life. But particular to me, I came from an abusive childhood. My dad was an outlaw biker. I grew up in that, scene for a long time. Prior to that, my mom bounced around, had different boyfriends. My parents got divorced when I was 2. You'll hear me talk about my dad and you'll hear me talk about my father, and that can get confusing. So I want to clarify that as well. When I talk about my father, I'm talking about my biological dad. When I talk about my dad, I'm talking about my stepdad, Tom, who was the central male figure in my life most of my childhood and teenage years. So my mom met Tom when I was 8. So what I'm talking about now is pre 8 years old. So I grew up in an abusive childhood. My parents got divorced when I was 2 years old. My father wasn't around a whole lot. He had custody of me basically every other weekend. So I would go to his house on Friday night, and then I would come home on Sunday. It was a very stark contrast between my mom's house and his house. And my mom and my father never really had any dialogue. My mom hated my father. I don't know why. I never got that out of anyone. I still don't know why to this day. But they just never got along. And I think my father really just tried to avoid my mom as much as possible. It just made his life easier. That being said, it kept him out of my life more than what he should have been. You know, he should have been more present, I feel like. I don't fault him for that. I understand that. As an adult going through life myself, I understand the way those things happen and why those things happen. So, you know, I don't harbor bad feelings toward my parents in any way, shape, or form anymore. I dealt with some anger on that for a long time. I chewed that up, went through therapy, you know, talked about all these things for a really long time, got to the bottom of my feelings on that, and I've basically moved on from that. So I'm okay with all of that today. But my mom went through this series of relationships after divorcing my father. One in particular was a guy that came into my mom's life. I guess I was probably maybe 4, 5, somewhere between 4 and 5. Anyway, this guy was a real piece of crap, turns out. And I remember meeting the guy for the first time, and I thought, man, this guy's really cool. You know, he was an Air Force guy, tall guy, you know, just a strong male figure. And I thought, yeah, this guy's cool, you know, awesome, you know. And I was bonding with this guy for a while. And then that all took a left turn. And a lot of that part of my life is still really fuzzy. I think a lot of bad things happened to me during that period in my life. My family members have told me bad things that happened to me in that period of my life. And, you know, it was just that early foundational setting is really what set the tone for what would become a very tumultuous period of life for me. My whole childhood was like that. And I had a safe space. It was my grandparents' house, my mother's parents. And I posted my tiger tattoo the other day, and I talked about that. And I talked about how I waited so long to get my back tattoo because I wanted to really have that tattoo be a very significant piece of art on my body. And I went through periods where I thought I wanted certain things and I thought I knew why I wanted certain things, but I never really settled. Until I met Luis Velasquez. He's a Peruvian artist, and really kicked it off with him. I really loved his style of art, and I started talking to him about some of my ideas, and he started kicking drawings to me, and I really settled on one, and we set a time. And then he came and did my tattoo in Goshen at the shop. So the tattoo is a tiger fighting 2 snakes, and those 2 snakes are fear and doubt. And I wanted to get that tattoo because I realized all through my life I was fighting these snakes. And my grandfather nicknamed me Tiger when I was just a kid, a little kid. He had nicknames for all of the grandkids. You know, my sister, I think, was Princess maybe. My cousins had nicknames. I don't remember what their nicknames were. Angel, I think, was one of my cousins, and then the other one I don't remember. But my grandfather had nicknames for all of us, and he never called us by names. He always just called us by our nicknames. So I was always Tiger to him, and that just stuck with me for life. I grew this affection for the actual physical tigers. I just kind of really bonded with that and identified that as my spirit animal, sort of. So that's the reason why that tiger is so significant in my tattoo. And then the snakes, of course, like I said, are fear and doubt. And so the tattoo is the tiger fighting the 2 snakes. And I feel like that's a lifelong battle. And that's the reason why I posted about that so much this week, because I feel like we all struggle with that same battle. Like, fear and doubt are what really truly hold us back the most in life. You know, fear of making videos like this, fear of telling our stories because we're worried about what other people are going to think, doubting ourselves and our own capabilities and our own strengths. I'm getting messages from people on a daily basis since I've been making this contact. And I know these messages are resonating with people, and I know these things are real struggles in other people's lives. So that's why I want to talk about them. And I don't have doubts anymore. Like I'm very confidently set on who I am and what my path needs to be going forward. And I'm slowly making this transition from one phase of life to the next. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I've lived so many different chapters. And I feel like I'm at this apex now where around 2019, one chapter started closing and another one kind of started slowly opening. We were just getting into COVID. In 2019, I had a very serious mental breakdown. I had really struggled a lot. If you go back and you look at my social media from 2019, if a lot of you guys were here in 2019, I was very erratic. I was posting lots of strange things. Even when I go back and look at it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking back then? And I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was drinking a lot. I was going through a very tumultuous divorce with my business partner, who I was married to. That was very strenuous. We just came into COVID, so we were dealing with all of that stuff, more business struggles. There was just a lot of challenges, and it just really hit me all the wrong way, and I just really struggled mentally, and I was going through a really dark period. Probably, I won't say the most dark period, but definitely up there. It was definitely one of the most dark and difficult times of my life in 2019 and 2020. I had a moment where I was looking in the mirror and I was really angry at myself. I wrote about that in my book, Negative Resistance. It's one of the things that I talked about in there. But negative resistance all came about through this realization that all through my life, I had been responding to these situations in life that were negative in nature with negativity. Like I was just hardwired to be a negative person. And I realized how much that was holding me back, that one element, like my reaction to things, my anger, just all these crazy things. And as I started replaying these stories and episodes in my life over again, I started realizing like, man, this all has the same root cause, which is negativity. So I just started really journaling about that a lot. And I really started to get intimate with negativity and trying to understand when it was surfacing in my brain and how it was triggering reactions to things in life, and then what the outcome of those reactions was. And as soon as I started getting better at that and I started to master that feeling and understand when that mechanism was triggering in my mind, I started doing things differently, and I started reacting to things differently in a conscious manner. Before, I just used to let the subconscious take over and just do what I do on autopilot. But as soon as I started identifying when those shifts were happening, I was able to hit the brakes, stop for a minute, reflect, and change the way I reacted to those things, which altered the outcome of those things. Completely changed the game. So much so that I had enough content that I could put everything into a book and write about it. And that's where Negative Resistance came from. So this book is filled with that philosophy, the exercises I went through, the outcomes of those exercises, but also filled with a lot of stories of my life and those negative circumstances and the negative reactions and negative outcomes to those circumstances. And then there's a whole protocol about how to rewire yourself to be able to recognize those things and change the outcome of your circumstances in this book. It's not a long read. It's an easy read. It's an emotional read. There's a lot of me in this, a lot of the stuff that I'm fearful of sharing. A lot of the doubts that I have about myself are exposed here. So I'm really putting myself out there and making myself seen. We can put on any kind of mask we want to put on when we're talking to this camera and when we're in the face of social media, and we can be whoever we want to be. We can create characters, we can live fantasy lives, we can role play, we can do all these things, but to actually shed all of that and expose who you truly are to the world and to the camera takes a certain level of overcoming fear and overcoming doubt. And that's why I've been posting about that so much this week, because I feel like once you can overcome those things, anything is possible. The people that you see at the top of the game, those are the people that have overcome those fears and doubts. And it applies to anything in life, any career, any relationship, any thing that you have to do, any task that you have to complete. Fear and doubt are always the things that are in your way. So that's why I posted so much, and I know it resonated with a lot of you because you've been messaging me, you've been talking about it, you've been telling me how much the messages hit you, and we've been talking about those things in the DMs. So I really appreciate you reaching out, because one of the things I'm doubtful about is whether or not my message is resonating with anyone. So to get those DMs is very refreshing to me, because it lets me know that I am reaching people. Because I truly believe that my real purpose in life is to do this, to share my experiences, to share my life lessons, to share how I've come from that abusive childhood, those 6 years in prison, to building myself back up from nothing, right? Like nothing. I came out of prison with nothing. I had nowhere to live. I had no family. I had no friends. They were all gone. You know, you have a lot of friends before you get locked up, and then all of a sudden, you're in a box for 6 years. You're not getting letters from people. Nobody's coming to visit you. All those people that were in your life, they're not there anymore. They're not present. So you come out without them in your life, and you have to start over from nothing. And I've done that. And I haven't lived life perfect since I've been out of prison. It was tough coming out. And it was tough climbing that hill over the last, 27 years. I've been out of prison for 27 years. And I'm proud to say, by the way, that I've not had anything more than a speeding ticket in 27 years. I did not revert back to that life of crime. I could have easily went back to that. I could have easily went back to selling drugs. I could have easily went back to being out on the street, stealing stuff, victimizing people. That was easy for me. I did that for so long. That was like second nature for me. I could have been a career criminal easily, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to turn a new leaf. I wanted to do right. I had a kid coming. I needed to change my life and be a good role model for my son. And I wanted to make sure that he never went down the path that I went down, that he never lived the experiences that I lived as a child. And I did a really good job of making sure that never happened. And I'm very proud of myself for providing my children, all of my children, for a good life. I think I did good. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I was always present in my kids' lives. I was always providing for my kids, and I was always trying to set good examples for my kids as best I could. Now, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to be perfect. There is no such thing as perfection. We learn things along the way. We take bumps and bruises. We do things wrong. We stumble, we fall, we pick ourselves back up, we recover, we regroup, we rethink, we re-strategize, and we do it again. And that's the way life goes. But now I'm entering this new chapter called Successrifice. I gave that whole philosophy, that Successrifice name, back around 2021 is when I came up with that. And it just popped in my head. I don't know where it came from. It just surfaced. I said, all of this success that I've seen certainly hasn't come without a very large degree of sacrifice. And so those two words just kind of merged, sacrifice and success. And I just said Successrifice. I love that word. It sums it all up in one cool word. I invented the word. That's cool too. And that's what the future looks like for me, Successrifice. I'd love to get into corporate training, management training. I'm a lean certified Six Sigma green belt. I'm a manufacturing expert. I spent a lot of years of my life in manufacturing and helping other people implement waste reduction systems in their manufacturing flows. I've helped other companies save tons and tons of money and eliminate waste in their processes. I'm really good at that. it's not what I want to do, but I want to help train people on that management side, help them understand how they can be successful in their businesses. And not necessarily with lean, but just, that's just one of the tools in my toolbox. But I'm very good at systems and analytical thinking and problem solving. I'm very good at those things. So I want to be able to help other people that might be struggling with those kinds of things. I want to help people that are going through addiction, abuse, business failures, relationship failures. I've lived all that and I've come out okay on the other side. And I think I can help other people in that regard too. And I just want to dedicate the rest of my life to community service, to going out and just helping other people find the best version of who they are. And that's what I've discovered about myself. I know where the best version of me. I've always known where the best version of me lies. I've just struggled to try to get there. There have been obstacles in my path preventing me from getting there, and I think that's by design. I think that I was meant to go through all of these struggles in life so that I could get to this point in my life and that I could help other people. I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't lived through all of those experiences. So as you walk this path with me and you see me posting these things, this video is just to serve as context to why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And this is just me shedding my skin and showing you who the real Rob Smead is, what I'm really about, and where I'm going. And I know this will resonate with you guys. I did the Warrior Journal in the very front, and I had this shirt on yesterday, but I didn't wear it today. But I put the Tower card in here. This is a tarot card. Now, most people see the Tower, and they're freaked out by this card. They're scared of this card because generally it means negative things. It means your world is falling apart. It means things like destruction and things like that. But when I drew that card on New Year's Eve of last year, it meant something completely different because I had been thinking all these things. I had been seeing all these signs. I had been working on all these projects, and I had just coming out of the most tumultuous business year of my life. And I was struggling with how to deal with that and how to recover from that. And that Tower card hit me. And to me, it meant that I needed to tear the old walls down and build new walls up. It was a sign of redemption and rebuilding for me. It wasn't a sign of negativity. So I put that Tower card on everything because that's how significant its impact was to me at that moment in time. And I have it on my t-shirt. I have it in the front page of that journal. And that's what that represents. Everything that I post and everything that I talk about has some sort of significant meaning to me personally. And mostly I'm posting this stuff for myself first. It means something to me. And I think if I post it, it will mean something to at least one other person. And if I reach at least one other person with my messages, then I'm doing exactly what I intended to do. And that is help you find the best version of you. Help you figure out how to overcome negativity in your life through the negative resistance protocol. I'm going to teach you these things. We're going to talk about these things. I'm not going to tell you that I'm perfect and that I don't still react to things negatively, because I do. But I'm very, very much improved when it comes to recognizing those triggers and reactions and correcting my behavior quickly before it causes excess damage. So that's the story, guys. That's why we're here. That's the path we're on. That's the path we're going to stay on. So if you're with me, keep riding with me. Go check out my website, Successrifice.com. I'm pouring a lot into that. I'm writing blog posts over there every week. I'm sending out emails to people that want to get on my email list. There is no cost to you at all. It's free. The only cost to you is if you decide to go pick up my books on Amazon, which, by the way, thank you to everyone who has. It means a tremendous amount to me that people are invested enough in me to go out and read my stories and do this work alongside me, and that you really want to become the better version of yourself, because I'm here for you. I want to ride that path with you. I want to ride that path together because helping you helps me. And it's just an awesome feeling all around. So let's do this thing. Let's keep going. Let's keep our momentum. Let's get over fear and doubt. And let's go out and create the best versions of who we are right fucking now.